that credibility travels quite fast and the lack of it as well. They panicked, we panicked, everyone panicked. There should be a balance between rushing and arriving late. You can't arrive late with the same product that the industry needs. It's still operations. Always have been. It's about not having an opportunity to switch off your phone at family dinners, at dinners with your friends. The same functionality that is important for one brand can absolutely not work for the other.
This industry still confuses more features, as you said, with better user experience.
I like order, and this is very annoying for my family members. It's very important that younger generation adds up to their knowledge, reading, exploring, asking questions, and staying curious. It's not always, as glamorous as it might seem, because you deal with very fragile material. You deal with people's lives. Because women very often lead with intuition. I try to be a present leader because I think this is the key for it. This is very important for me, working in a regulated market.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another season of Peach Marathon Podcast, the show where we meet innovators from iGaming world and hear their stories straight from the source. This season, titled Pretty Serious, is dedicated to Women's Month and to the brilliant women moving this industry forward. Today, I'm joined by Lusia Barseghyan, co-founder, COO of Oddsgate, who's here to share her insights.
Hello, Maria. Very nice to be here with you. I know that we have been trying to do this for a while, but, time wasn't right. I'm very happy that we are doing this on this occasion for Women's Month. It's even more pleasant for me. Thanks for having me.
Lucia, let's start from the beginning. I'd love to go back to where it all started for you. Where did your iGaming journey begin and when was it?
I think we all have this joke around the industry when someone international asks us where we are from. And when you are Armenian, it all leads to bad constructs or digitain, right? So I'm always telling that I was born in bad constructs. So I'm proudly VBET person. It was in 2010. I received an offer from Vigen Badalyan to create a poker project for Armenia. And it was one of the most interesting starts because before that, I would never imagine myself in the iGaming industry. I was one of those teams that thinks that iGaming is, has this negative impact on people's life, etc., etc. With time, I changed my opinion several times over that, back and forth. But now I'm very confident that if you do things right, if you do things regulated, you can change a lot of things in iGaming on a daily basis. And this is what we did with Vigen and Bet Construct team, VBET team, let's say. We created a poker project. It was a very interesting one because before that in Armenia, there was no poker at all. So we created this, we invented, let's say, the culture of poker. And we even shot a movie, Poker I Am, is about that. It was a very fun time. We participated in a lot of tournaments internally, region-wise, and we took our players, we traveled with our players to participate in the finals in a lot of European countries. It was very exciting times for us, for the project and for me personally.
This is actually my favorite question because here in iGaming, people often come from very different backgrounds, but once they understand how dynamic industry really is, it has a way of pulling you in and keep you inside. And when you first enter this world, one of the first thing we notice is just how much this business depends on people. And even now, when the whole world is embracing AI, I would comfortably say that no matter what, it could never replace the human side of the business. Thinking back to those days, when you first entered the industry, what surprises you the most and how people build relationship, trust, and business in iGaming?
How much this industry is dependent on the relations, for the good and for the bad. In this industry, a lot of decisions, a lot of, let's say, development depend on relations between the people. Let's say between stakeholders, between decision makers, between teams of different companies, let's say between the dynamics of team of the provider with the platform, right? If things don't go right there, then the motivation of the platform to promote this provider on its platform is close to zero. I've seen a lot of things like this. So this is a very fast-paced industry. I wouldn't say that it's very innovative, no, with comparison to other industries. But at the same time, in this kind of industry, relations between people is what makes things work. So we come to the point that credibility travels quite fast and the lack of it as well. So you have to be very alert because some words which are said in a not precise time, in a not precise tone can change the dynamics between you and the party you are working with.
I agree 100%. That's such an important point because, as you said, in this industry, relationships move faster than many others, but they also matter just as much in the long run. Knowing the fact that you've had the chance to see the industry from different angles and worked across multiple sides of the business, looking back, which part of the journey has shaped you the most and why?
This is my favorite one because I don't know why it's still operations. It always have been, and it's now, even for now. It's, I think, one of the most challenging, one of the most tiresome ones because operation is not about glam pictures. Operation is about sleepless nights. It's about being alert. It's about not having an opportunity to switch off your phone at family dinners, at dinners with your friends. From that perspective, I'm always annoying one in any company that I am. So, and they always know, people I go out with, they always know that any moment I can just, wrap it up and run because this is how all of this works. But it's still operations for me. I think it's just aligns naturally with the way I am. I like order. And this is very annoying for my family members because I don't like mess. I don't like when they create mess. And my son has his favorite job. He said that when I organize the house, I prefer that no one lives there, of course, including them. So just naturally comes the way I am. So I like things organized. I like when things move fast, but at the same time, I really cannot stand when fast means mess. It shouldn't be. So creating balance between the processes and the people. I'm very much on, agile scrum part because I don't like bureaucracy also. I like when processes work for people and people other than people working for processes. So when there is a balance, there is an organization, there are certain flows, there is no way you can miss being an organized team or an organized company. Of course, there are force majeures and they are everywhere, especially in operations. They are like more often than we would like to be, but this is the way it is. So it's still operations. It has my heart after all of these years, more than 70 years already.
Oh, that's a long, long time. And I think that kind of experience gives you as a leader a very different depth because when you've seen multiple layers of the business, the operational side, the product side, the personal side, the people side, and even the pressure of building, your decision tend to become much more grounded. And that naturally brings us to where you are today. From the outside, the COO's role can look exciting, but I'm sure there's a lot people don't see. What's the side of the role that often goes unnoticed?
I think in general, we are living in a world where the luxury picture is this misleads us in a lot of perspectives, right? So we constantly on a daily basis see successful success on Instagram, right? We see people that create businesses overnight, jungling between 5 people, multiple travels about, creating personal PR, etc. And it all comes is being not comes but is being displayed in a way that everyone can do that overnight, and it's, I think, very misleading for the people who are starting their ways, because if they look at this picture and naturally it's not like that, and if they fail they think that this is a failure because they themselves couldn't do it. But sometimes this success leaves behind, this picture, glamorous picture, leaves behind a real work, a real hard work. For at least for me, it has never been an overnight success. It has been years of struggle. One of my friends likes to joke around this. He says, you like operations because you like to struggle in general, because there is no other way person can like this. But in reality, there is a lot of struggle behind this, because dealing with people is one of the most challenging things on a daily basis. And at the same time, it's one of the most amazing things in leadership in general. So after all of these years, let's say for me, iGaming is nothing new is happening there. So it's more or less, I know everything that can happen, like from a product perspective, from an operation perspective. But what interests me, and it's never changing, is that how to build relations with a team, especially when the team is multicultural, international. I think this is one of the things that is very often left behind the scenes. All this hard work, all this psychological, mental work you are doing on a daily basis just to make this click and work. They all come with their backgrounds. They all come with their experience. They all come with their habits. And when all of this clashes, sometimes it's not the smooth way, not the smoothest and straightforward way to make things happen.
Yeah, and that's the thing with operations when it's done well, as you mentioned, most people don't even notice how much is being held together behind the scene. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think a big part of the CEO's role is also more about absorbing chaos. And a big part of that role is, of course, building people and teams. You've built teams and operations from the ground throughout your career. From your experience, what really makes a strong team?
We'll start with what does not make it, because this is where I have a lot of debate with some colleagues, which think that hiring a right person is the success. For me, it has never been, because I think you can hire 100 stars and it will not make teams that you want to be there on a daily basis. Still, I'm very demanding. While hiring, I can have 100 interviews and then hire only one person, which sometimes exhausts our HRD. And he thinks that on the way, he several times thinks that this is a fit, but then I don't have this internal, because women very often lead with intuition. And when I don't feel this click inside, it's like, can be, I don't know, very misleading for some people. But for me, it has always been like that. If I don't feel it intuitively that this is the person I need, I will not move forward. For me, making things work on a daily basis is making sure that the team is aligned between themselves. And by aligned, I don't mean Slack or Jira tasks. I mean, they know exactly what the team wants and needs on a daily basis, know what the company wants and needs on the daily basis. When the team does not know where the company leads, what are their targets, when there is no transparency between the top management and the team, from my experience, it never works. So let's say I come to my desk and my goal is like, let's say, entering a new market, right? And I do not explain to the team why exactly the company needs this, right? What are our targets? What are our principles? What is the, let's say, big goal behind this? They will not feel enough motivated to do that. Also, making sure their team as per se is not enough, because as I was mentioning before, they are all different people. And sometimes they come not only with their different education or different backgrounds, sometimes they come with their egos. And when these egos clash, who is more important, who has more knowledge, this creates a lot of problems. So it's not always, as glamorous as it might seem. Sometimes dealing with a team is like cloudless sky. Sometimes it's like navigating through a minefield when you are very afraid to say something wrong, which can turn out into something that you never expect, because you never know the reason behind some internal conversation that you might be having. And this is where I try to be always involved. I try to be a present leader, because I think this is the key for it. Just be with them. And I really enjoy this. I don't like to be, somewhere above. Never enjoyed it. I like to be and work within the team. There are lots of tasks, of course. I work separately because this is the needs of the business. But mostly operations-wise, we work in a team. I'm not telling that it's just exactly replicable, but because very many aspects are here, are very personal. And this is why we are unique, right? All of us have different approach, different character, different expectations, a different way of loyalty to the company. And when I just start working with team, first thing I always tell them is that making them like each other is not my primary goal, but asking them and making them respect each other, it is. Because there is nothing without respect. They have to respect each other. Even when they are angry, they can tell each other that they are angry, that they don't like this or that, but only with the respect.
I agree. As someone who actually worked as an HR before, I love this question because building and having strong teams that are a combination of talent, personality, trust, ownership, or even the way people, how to say, handle pressure together are often the difference between companies that grow fast and companies that actually last for a long time. And if we zoom out from internal teams to the bigger picture, you've helped many clients succeed over the years. What do you think is the secret ingredient behind long lasting success in this industry?
Say this is different from different markets I have worked in. Brazilian market, I would say resilience to the stress. The Brazilian culture is usually very emotional and very fast paced. And also when you enter the market before regulation, starting preparing platform for the regulation, it gives some observations which were important for me to follow and process internally. Because when stress hits, people act in a very different ways. And I think resilience is the most important ingredient that made our clients remain where they are and grow even more in their operations, in their GDR, in their presence in the market. When the regulation night started, and I think long before when we started doing certifications, we were having these conversations with our clients a lot. This is one of the models that me and my partners in business have. So we share not only the technology, not only the processes, the flows, we share our experience. And we were having these conversations with them a lot. We were explaining them that entering regulated market means changing your strategy like 180. You cannot do whatever you have been doing before, not acquisition, not marketing wise, not operational wise, because it changes everything. And sometimes you need to be really get resilient because all of these changes bring chaos. Your numbers drop because you do not exactly meet the expectation of your player at that specific moment, because players are, let's say, imagining the same passes that you were walking with them before, let's say acquisitions through influencers, through affiliate, which were promoting actively, and let me tell this word aggressively, the concept of gaming, which is not the case now. They cannot. They are prohibited to use certain words, certain triggers. You cannot drive the player into gaming. So you have to you have to find workarounds which are successful and efficient enough. This is not easy. And our clients where operators have been figuring their ways successfully, they did. But I think also because they remained resilient. They panicked, we panicked, everyone panicked. I think starting from regulated to payment providers, everyone in the chain panicked because it was something new. It was something, no matter the experience you had with regulation, in the previous market. It's always different. Every market has its own ways because of human differences. You have to take this into account because the way Brazilian player plays, the way Brazilian player expects the product to be there is very much different from the way that the same player will be in Scandinavian market, in Asian market. And this is one of the most nuances that you have to always tune.
We can say in a bigger picture, if we don't consider any specific market, I think it is a combination of several things. It can be product, it can be speed, adaptability, and discipline as well. From your perspective, Lucia, where do you see the biggest gap between what companies think players want and what players actually value?
Brands very often try to overload the product with features, with multiple features, while player is expecting a very smooth player flow. We try to create some things without taking into account his preference. Let's say on an operation basis also, we have the situation where brands create several bonuses and campaigns per month, but none of them is user-friendly. Let's say we create a campaign and there is no banner. We create a bonus, but bonus terms are not explained correctly. So what the player gets? He gets an overwhelmed situation when he enters the lobby. He does not understand what's going on. He has several campaigns. He wants to participate, but his experience is not going to be the smooth one because he does not even know how to apply for them. So my advice on a daily basis, marketing-wise and operations-wise, is let's focus on something smaller, one thing, but quality. We very often think that players want 100 functionalities, deployed on a monthly basis. Let's do that. We didn't finish even the deploy of this one. We didn't even test whether the client really enjoys this. And then some operators come up with the other one. Oh, let's do this and that and that. I think this is the gap. We have to find a balance. I'm not telling that we have to keep outdated products. No, it's not there. But my concern is that very often platforms and operators move forward without enough data, without analyzing on a daily basis what the client really enjoys. Who is your client? What does he like? How he expects the experience to be? Does he like casino? Which casino games he likes? How many seconds did he stay on this part of your website? These are the questions that has to be analyzed, and these are very straightforward. But what I am experiencing is that with requests based on someone's opinion. can be one affiliate which was telling that this provider is the best one. They would like that to be integrated overnight.
Yes, because the gap between assumption and reality is often where the biggest business mistakes happen. This industry still confuses more features, as you said, with better user experience. And when you spend enough time in the industry, those lessons naturally change the way you think. Looking back on your journey as a whole, I am curious, what's a belief you once had about iGaming that you've since changed your mind about?
This would be that I was thinking, even when I had this offer from Vigen Badalan, I was reconsidering that offer for several days because I didn't really know whether I want to have gaming in my life, for the reason that I think that everyone that starts the industry had this as a start. I was thinking that I don't want to be participant in, I would say this, it's not the right way, but I have to say this, in changing people's lives to the worst, sometimes in damaging their lives, because I have seen different stories. I would say that I changed this perception when I immediately learned about working in a regulated market, responsible gaming. And this was the change that brought my career before and after. Without that perception, I don't think I would be even here. Whenever I have a chance to, let's say, do a rapid growth in my career, which I had when I relocated from Armenia to Ukraine, I always ask which market is this. This is very important for me. Working in regulated market is much more challenging, of course, but this is what I want to be, and this is what I want to do with my team. There is no other way to make things right. You have to take care of this because you deal with very fragile material. You deal with people's life, and that tiny moment when you have to understand when the operator, because we're B2B, right? We don't have a direct access to players. But from the questions that the operator CS team is asking, this is one of the fundamental trainings we have. They have to be very careful to understand at what mental state that player is. Why is he asking that question? Why is he so pushy about, let's say, participating in a new campaign or something? Is it really time to send him to cool off? Is it time to use your psychological knowledge to talk with the player? And for us, it's even more difficult because there is one instance between the players. So we talk with the CS team of the player, of the operator. Then it has to be conveyed to the player and user.
And if we shift from reflection to the future, what's the one skill you believe will define the next generation of leaders in this space?
Adaptability is one, because with the growth and development we have right now, I think younger generation sometimes thinks that technology is going to solve a lot of pain, which is going to do, but human knowledge will not be replaced. And we will always need specialists. We will not always need professionals leading and teaching that technology. And here, I think where I always advise to my son, because he's also a younger generation, and to my team members, to be adaptable to the changing, but adaptable in a way that it is efficient. We are living in a reality that unfortunately, we have this scroll culture which misleads people from longer reads. So people are perceiving information while scrolling on social media for 2-3 seconds. And this brings them to some ideas that whatever information they heard in that teaser is an absolute truth, which is not. There is a lot of information that remains behind, which I think it's very important that younger generation adds up to their knowledge, reading, exploring, asking questions, and staying curious. This way, this adaptability can work because they will have a ground and will have a knowledge to meet all these challenges and new things that AI and technology brings to our lives on a daily basis.
I 100% agree with you. And that naturally opens up the bigger question because leadership doesn't exist in isolation. It shapes company culture, decision making, and ultimately the future of industry itself. So, based on everything you've experienced, if you had a chance to change one thing about iGaming culture tomorrow, or just for women, but for leadership and business overall, what would you change first?
I think I would not change, but I would ask people making quality decisions over fast decisions. I'm facing this on a daily basis in teams and in operator teams and even in management. People are hurrying a lot. They hurry and they chase fast success. I would ask them reconsider this because there should be a balance between rushing and arriving late. I think this comes from my agile background, from Scrum knowledge I have been gaining, which I like a lot. You can't arrive late with the same product that the industry needs. You can't, let's say, deploy a functionality today night just because you think that the industry needs this, and then go into a process of fixing the bugs for 6 months. This does not make any sense. This is not taking you anywhere. So should be always a balance. This is why I touched this topic before. Not 100 functionalities, focusing on couple of functionalities that are smooth, that are really needed for this market, for this specific brand, because the same functionality that is important for one brand can absolutely not work for the other in the same industry. So shifting the attention from the fast to quality.
I agree. That's such a powerful insight. And before we wrap up, I want to end on something more practical. What advice would you give to someone just entering iGaming today, or what skills do you think will matter most over the next 5 to 10 years?
That's difficult one. I think still will be the one that I mentioned. It will be adaptability. At the moment when we lead teams or we work with something on our desk, there is always a moment when you doubt in the product, when you have doubts around the project, and when you have doubts about yourself. And this is, for me, this is one of the most dangerous ones, because when I doubt myself, and it happens, I think, with everyone from time to time. It's very important that you are very transparent to yourself to understand when that doubt is coming from. Is there any objective ground behind this? Because if you miss this, it's not going to work. So you have to be very honest, because sometimes the doubt comes from the fear to enter into something more serious or into something that's more challenging. So there is always that person living inside us telling, oh, you are not worth it. You cannot do this. This is more difficult than the previous project. This is a different type of fear. That one you can tame, and that one you can, negotiate with. But that moment when you miss the part where your knowledge is not enough to lead something, when your experience is not enough, and you have to objectively ask for help, professional help from someone, business partner, especially from a professional. This is something that should not be missed, I think.
Agree. Lucia, thank you so much for joining us today and for sharing your insights and stories from the front line of iGaming.
Thanks a lot, Maria. Thanks a lot. It was a pleasure. It was one of the interviews that I liked a lot, because iGaming, as I was telling, there is not much new happening there, but leadership and human perspective is what I usually like to speak about. So thanks for this opportunity.
To everyone listening, thanks for tuning in. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves a good industry story, or just someone who likes hearing smart people talk. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and of course, keep pitching.